Yeah, I'm getting a slight audio delay, so if there's a pause. All right, gentlemen, we're about to interview y'all. Got a couple of questions for y'all, about 10 main ones. A couple might sidetrack depending on how the conversation goes. And let's get into this. So starting off, we'll go with you, Mr. Rugel. Tell me and the listeners a little bit about yourself and what the book is about. And then we'll proceed with the same question to Wilford Brown.
Okay. Well, my name is Eric Rugel from Brooklyn, New York. Went to college at University of Houston, main campus. That's a little bit about myself. Born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. So, I mean, the reason that maybe want to put this book together is just being passionate about change. Not waiting for the next person to step up and do it. I feel like we need a lot of leaders within our community, not just one person. And we all need to work on developing that mindset and that foundation. And that's what came upon the book. I just noticed like trends of mental slavery that's going on throughout our communities. There's various forms of mental slavery that's going on throughout our communities. And I feel like we all need to do our due diligence at building a stable mindset and develop more guidance within our communities also in order to keep these kids on the correct path.
All right, good talk. Sounds good. Mr. Brown, a little bit about yourself, man, and about the book, about yourself.
All right. Thanks for being here, Adrian. I really appreciate it. I know you have a busy schedule, but the main reason a little bit about myself first is I'm Wilford Brown, born and raised in Houston, lived in Flatonia, Baytown, a little bit in Oklahoma. So I've got a bit of seeing both the urban side and the rural side of this country. And I think that affected me growing up. Right now, I mostly am a consultant, author, and corporate professional. But every now and then, you have something that kind of tugs on your heart. And that was the kind of the plight of my people. I felt like everywhere I went, no matter where I went in this country, I saw my people suffering. And it just made me want to do something about it. So you co-authored the first book that I wrote with me. And it was basically, we wrote that book for the same reasons, because we saw people suffering from a different kind of slavery, debt slavery. So with this book, I thought I wanted to come together with Mr. Eric Rugel here to address mental slavery in our Black community.
Okay. So starting with you, Will. So basically, to add on to your point in the form of a question, do you feel like your motivation to write this book is also deeply personal for yourself?
Oh, yeah. I really do think it's personal because of the simple fact that, my parents, my parents are a little bit older. I'm not that old, but my parents, they come from the old school. So my dad was still alive. Today he'd be in his late 70s. And my mom is 70. She just turned 70. And so, they saw segregation. They saw all Black or Negro schools their whole life. They taught me about that type of lifestyle that they had to live. I seen it myself. I grew up in poverty. I seen the problems that we bring to ourselves because I guess of the things that happened to us in the past and what we're still holding on to. And I've seen the destruction that causes in our community. And so, yes, it's deeply personal.
And you, Eric, you as well. How about yourself, man?
I agree also. Me growing up in the communities of Bedford-Stuyvesant definitely was no walk in the park. I say it's definitely personal from my own personal experience and also from what I've seen growing up in the environment that I grew up in. I grew up being a watcher almost, just watching watching and asking a lot of questions, always wondering why there was so many broken households in my community. Question why there were so many teenage pregnancies within my community. Why everybody strayed away from the educational road and got more sucked into the fast money road. You know, everybody wanted to be a dope boy. Everybody wanted to get out the hood playing sports. You know, I questioned a lot of things. You know, and it was enticing because if you look at the only so-called role models in my communities who had everything that we wanted, or at least, you know, threw that in our face. You know, every kid growing up wanted to have the latest clothing. You know, every kid wanted to have girls. You know,
Yeah.
every kid wanted to drive fast cars. Every kid just wanted some money in their pocket. You know, when they were hungry, I know I had a lot of hungry days. They just wanted to be able to, you know, feed themselves and, you know, be able to not be so dependent on their parents who work 2-3 jobs, you know? So, I mean, it was definitely a personal thing. I started questioning a lot of things, and in my my brief biography in the book, I even pointed out and I gave credit to a lot of the local hustlers who actually did push me away from that type of life. They didn't recruit young kids like happens a lot today. You know, a lot of them who've been there, done that. They said, "Hey, listen, you don't want this. Move on." And you know, I thank them even to this day. A lot of them are still around, and I thank them to this day because it made me look at other options. They told me to stay in school because a lot of kids who were just hard-headed and, you know, chose not to listen to them ended up in not so promising fates. So, I mean, there's a lot of mental slavery trends that I question to why this type of lifestyle is being recycled throughout our communities without no end. And I just realized it's honestly because, you know, a lot of the youth growing up does not have guidance. And if you have a community without guidance, I mean, it doesn't really have a promising future or any positive results coming forward. So that's my personal reasons. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can tell from both you guys' responses, your personal background here really gives you a sense of credibility and kind of knowledge to know, you know, what the sense of the community is. So based on that, I'm pretty sure you two had motivations for writing this book. And clearly, if you're going to push it, you really believe it's going to help change the Black community. If that's not too strong of an assumption, and I'm not wrong, why do you believe this book has that potential?
You know, I'll go ahead and take that. I think this book has that potential because we've already seen change occur in the Black community. African Americans have come from being slaves to all the way to the point in this nation where we saw our first Black president. So that doesn't mean that our struggles are over. It just shows you that we can do great things. And so the thing is that there was a blueprint. It was already laid out by our ancestors, the people who came before us, who struggled, who gave us that blueprint. And I think that we forgot it. And I think that this book here just reminds everybody in the community that there is a blueprint to success. You can win this game. And it starts off in the mind, but you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You've already had people die to give you the strategies that you need to conquer anything.
Okay, and you, Mr. Virgil, you as well.
Well, to piggyback off of what Will said, you know, we all need to understand that, you know, our Black people are built for struggle. You know, we come from a real resilient race, and we overcame a lot of obstacles and adversity throughout our history, throughout our educational system, which is real biased. We aren't taught our history. we're taught slavery history within America. So it kind of distorts the mind, especially as a youth, and doesn't really motivate. Actually, doesn't motivate at all. It's actually quite what can I say? Sad and depressing if you think about it.
Yeah.
So I mean, like Will said, just establishing that blueprint, trying to build that solid foundation out of concrete, for those to look at and be able to grasp that information and build from that. I just feel like we need more motivational books, and we need more motivational leaders. And my aspirations with this book is that it's going to help multiply more future leaders and help develop current leaders that are out there today.
Okay, good. Actually, that's a good point to leave off on. I'm gonna start this next question with you, Eric. What are your thoughts on African American leadership?
African American leadership. I believe that it has to evolve. In the past, we have a history of great leaders within our nation, but it's not about doing exactly what they did and necessarily believing in an ideology of a one leader to lead us all. I believe that honestly we have to get out of that thinking and evolve and start developing each other to become leaders. The good saying, each one teach one, or each one reach one. I feel like that needs to be embedded in our heads, and we need to build each other and motivate each other at aspiring for greatness. So when it comes down to that, I believe in the concept of multiple leaders and developing our foundation in order to grow and sprout into a powerful movement. The whole one leader ideology, I feel like it's out the window now. However, we do need to acknowledge and study what our heroes and what our one leaders in the past have done, because I know me and Will have studied them, and they helped us create the blueprint that we created in this book.
Yeah, actually, I know that quote, man. I had the same one when I was doing organizations. We had each one keep one. It was kind of like a mentoring type of thing. Yeah, go ahead, Will. I got one follow-up question to that for both of y'all.
Okay. I mean, I feel that leadership in African American community is thoroughly lacking. I don't think that it's at the same quality it once was. I think we used to have leaders who, no matter what their background was or where they came from within our community, whether they were from educated background, like Dr. Martin Luther King, or if you had someone like Brother Malcolm X, who came from out of the prison system, you just had a different quality of leaders. I feel like what me and Eric is trying to establish in our book is that you have to build a foundation of how to develop leaders in the first place. Because we need leaders. Everybody knows leadership is important. But you have to have multiple leaders. And then you also have to have a system set up to develop those leaders. We don't have either. So right now, if you look in the Black community, you have a few people that's doing great work. But you don't have the multitude of leaders that you had during the Civil Rights Movement, right after we were freed, emancipated, during Reconstruction. You don't have those multitudes of leaders. It's because we don't have the kind of communities that we used to have. And so, I totally agree with my brother, Eric Rubel, when he says that we need to have multiple leaders. And one of the things that we put in this book is a blueprint of how to create those multiple leaders in the community. But right now, we don't have it.
Also, to finish off where you left off, Will, I just feel like we've been so conditioned to to be dependent on a system that has not been working for us. You know, we've been expecting handouts, and you know, if things don't work out, we get upset and we expect the system to change. And we need to be the vehicles at taking care of that system.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I you know, I see we lost